Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is CJ UFC Picks along with my dude Gibbs. Go give him a follow, give him a like. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, like the video, and comment on the video. Today we are breaking down UFC Fight Night Vegas 86 Hermansson versus Pyfer. That's going to be an exciting fight. Not a bad card to break down. But first, let's recap what happened last night on UFC Fight Night Vegas 85, Imavov versus Delitse. A lot of disappointment on that card, especially Maxum, bro. I feel bad for people that bet that fight. How'd you feel about that card?
Yeah, bro. It was kind of a up and down card, man, from a betting perspective. Just looking at the card, you kind of could tell it has some sketchy spots in there, but we found some of them sketchy spots and we made do with what we had.
Absolutely, bro. I did make some money and I didn't do too bad. I did way better than my last card. I went 6 for 6. The word was that one draw with Muradov and Kizriev, so I didn't count that. Um, and I should have stuck with my original pick, bro. Charles Radke. I had him in my breakdown. You can go back and watch that breakdown. I did pick him to win that fight, but for some reason I just switched my freaking pick, and that was my number one rule this year: is not to switch my picks, bro.
Yeah, bro. Going with that gut, man, usually get you paid, but sometimes when you have a different read, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
How'd you do on this card?
It was actually a pretty damn good card. I went 10-2 and 1, no contest, like you had mentioned. The Peterson fight I had off, and then it was another fight down the stretch I had wrong. Oh, the Maxim fight, but actually bet Charles Johnson live at plus 300. So I
That's
take it.
what's up, bro. Let's go over it real quick. Let's go over it. Give me one moment. All right, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. UFC Fight Night Vegas 85. Let's go over the official picks real quick. Jamal Pogues defeating Thomas Peterson in a 3-round decision. I did tell you guys that was going to be a sloppy heavyweight fight, and it's exactly how it became a sloppy heavyweight fight. Jamal Pogues barely beating Thomas Peterson. What'd you think about that fight, bro?
Yeah, bro. This was one pick that I definitely had off. Thomas Peterson came out hot. He had got the little takedown, and then after that, he couldn't get it going. Jamal established the range and just won him a decision.
Next fight, I got the pick correct, but I got the outcome wrong. I thought it was going to be a knockout, but it went to a decision. Still got the pick correct, and I had him in the parlay straight up. Markel Medeiros defeating Landon Quinones. That was a really good scrap. What you think about that fight?
Yeah, that was a pretty good fight, man. I had also had the same prediction as you. Thought it was gonna be a finish. Markel, I think maybe he's trying to be too pretty in there, man. Sometimes you gotta get nasty in there. A guy out there might take him out if you get greasy with him.
Next fight, guys. Got the outcome and the pick wrong. I really thought Stoliarenko was gonna be able to submit Luana. She almost did a couple times in that fight, but apparently Luana Carolina is a dog. She's got that dog in her, bro.
Yes, she does have that dog in her, bro. And it's crazy. It's my third correct fight in a row picking versus or for Yulia Stoliarenko. So man, I just kind of have her floor and her ceiling down to a T.
Next fight, guys, was Jane Young Lee defeating Blake Builder via decision. Should have known that Jung Young Lee was gonna come in there and beat Builder because Builder to me, bro, I'm not gonna pick him ever again. I think he's gonna be on my fade list going forward.
Yeah, bro. I don't know, CJ. I didn't want to disrespect Blake Builder, but I almost was close to saying he sucks. And he actually showed that he's not that good. Usually when a guy loses his O, he comes out with fire. But no, he just looked it empty in there. And I don't know. Like you said, no, don't bet on that guy, Builder.
Next fight, guys. I got the outcome wrong, but I got the pick correct. Themba Garimbo, he was my other piece of the parlay with Marco Medeiros. That was plus money. I forgot what the payout was, but Themba Garimbo beating Pete Rodrigues in the very first round, bro. P. Rodrigues is trash. I don't even know why they brought him in here.
Yeah, man, he just could not find the answer for that reach on Themba, man. It just was devastating. He found him, clipped him on the back of the head. It was over.
Next fight, guys. I thought that Charles Johnson was gonna come in there and shit the bed again because we know that he's not that great. He almost did shit the bed. He was losing that fight. I honestly thought he lost that fight, to be honest with you. But I guess Charles Johnson got more damage in there. What do you think about this fight, bro?
Yeah, it was actually a pretty interesting fight, and it was funny. Well, I won't say funny, but it was crazy how this was the fight of the night. It was a good fight, good scrap. Charles Johnson, he was definitely rocked and wobbled all over the place, but he found a way to muster up a win. And Azat Maxim, he's not really that good, to be honest with you, because it's the second fight in a row we've seen him fade.
Next fight, guys. Got the pick correct. Got the outcome wrong. I thought she was gonna get a knockout here, but she came out there and got a submission, and she improved in her grappling and her takedowns, bro, which is a good sign for her. So she might be something to look out for in the strawweight division. Molly McCann going over Diana Belbita, and I guess Belbita got injured in that fight, with that armbar. What you think about that fight?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. That fight kind of looked like how it did the first time. She got the takedown, and she just looked like the better woman. Diana Belbita was talking about retiring, so yeah, you kind of had a feeling that's what was going to happen. Maybe not way the outcome, but hey, a finish happened. I took it.
The next fight, guys. This was the huge disappointment for me because I should have stuck with my gut. I should have stuck with my pick. And going forward, I'm gonna stick with that rule, man. I'm not gonna go back on my picks. Charles Radke knocking out Gilbert Urbina. I did say that in my breakdown originally. So give me some credit for that, man.
You did. Oh man, you absolutely. We called that, and then this was one of the fights that we aligned on a dog together. And this was the fight that I told you guys, man. The bookies are trying to set us up, and I took Charles Radke, and I got him at the underdog tag, and shit saved my night for real, because it was a small betting day for me. Radke came through in the first round. Mm.
Bro, and I think he's gonna be a problem in the welterweight division. I really do. He's
I
he's on
think
my
he is.
book. I think he's gonna be someone to look out for sure. So I'm looking forward to what's next for him. Next fight, guys. A little bit of a disappointment here. This fight didn't even go past the first round. I did have Makhmud Muradov to win this fight against Aliaskhab Kariziv, but it was a no contest due to the eye poke. Hopefully, they rebook that fight down the road.
Sounds good to me. Shit, I kind of felt like Alice Gap. He was kind of like it's like he was scared, like that. He had that nervous energy. Put his hand out instantly, and that just gave me nervous energy vibe. I had Mahmoud, man. Rewind that. Let's do that back.
Absolutely. Let's see that fight again. I'm sticking with Mahmoud as well. Next fight, guys. Got the pick correct. Got the outcome correct. Natalia Silva completely dominating that fight, in my opinion. She dominated that fight. She looked incredible in that decision win over Viviane Arujo. What'd you think about that fight, bro?
Man, she looked really good after the second round. After the first round, I should say. I felt like Viviane, she did exactly what she usually does. She comes hard in the first round and she gassed out. Going forward though, I feel like, there's a world where there's a heavy striker that comes in and exploits, Natalia Silva. She stays on that back foot. And that was something I noticed, man. So that's something I'm gonna be looking out for going forward.
Next fight, guys. He should have been my lock of the card. He almost was my lock of the card. Kind of knew this was gonna happen. I didn't think he was gonna knock him out though, because Brown's fights usually go to a decision, but he still won the fight and very impressive knockout against Muslim Salikov. What'd you think about that fight, bro?
Yeah, bro. Like you said, man, I definitely thought this fight was gonna go to decision. But when we were looking at the reach discrepancy, now that fight gave me a lesson because now I know that when you have two guys that are usually decisionators, but one guy has to go in there and make it happen, that leads to violence every time. Because Muslim one just gonna sit there and just get beat up. He just threw a spinning back kick and got clipped, and that was it.
Next fight, guys, my dog of the card. You did warn me there. Everybody warned me that Drew Dober wasn't that great on the ground. And he's not that great on the ground, bro. He's just a knockout artist. Let's just face the facts. He lost the fight against Renato Moicano um, via decision just because of control time. Let's be honest. He didn't do that much damage in that fight.
No, I agree with you, man. Morikano was in there wrestling to survive. Honestly, if they would have stayed on the feet, Drew Dober would have knocked him out. So yeah, that wasn't really an impressive. I'm not even gonna sit here. Yeah, I called that. I called that. Nah, I called submission, and Morikano was being a bitch, and that's that.
Next fight, guys. Got the outcome correct. Got the pick correct. And he was my lock of the card. Nasruddin Imavov completely dominating Roman Delite. All Roman Delite did was clinch, bro. All he did was clinch the whole freaking fight. All 5 rounds, all he did was clinch. He didn't really do anything significant in that fight. He did clip him a few times, but Imavov, he just completely dominated that whole fight, in my opinion. And he might be a problem in this middleweight division. I want to see him run it back with what's his name?
Strickland.
Strickland, yeah.
Me too. Yeah, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I felt like this was actually a damn good fight. Like everybody, I heard everybody was giving them shit on Twitter, but it was actually a pretty entertaining fight. They were rocking each other, and then Nasruddin thought he was gonna get the finish in the first round, so that made him be gassed out, which made it a real greasy, nasty fight. But um, I got to give Roman credit. I thought he was gonna gas out, and I thought he was gonna get stopped in at least the third or fourth, fifth round. I seen it going over 2.5. But it was a pretty entertaining fight. Nasruddin's good, better than I thought. Nasruddin Imavov, this is the first time I've got his fight right. So I think he's better than what I expected.
Well, there you go, folks. That was the breakdown, or sorry, that was the recap for UFC Fight Night. Delite versus Imavov. 6-for-6-1 because of that no contest. Should have went 7-6 or 8-5 or whatever because of Charles Racky, but it is what it is. We bounce back on this card coming up for UFC Fight Night Vegas 86. We have Joe Pyfer versus Jack Hermansson. Hold on, let me just go back. That's going to be a really good fight. I don't expect that fight to go the distance, man. Another early card, 14 fights in this card, and there is some fights that got rescheduled because some people had to drop out. What do you think about this card, bro?
Yeah, bro. This card's pretty good. We had a couple of debutants, more than a couple debutants on this card, so we had a lot of homework to do. But from a violence standpoint, this card's pretty good.
Let's go over the first fight of the night. Scheduled in the men's bantamweight division, we have Daniel Marcos versus Aoriqileng. Daniel Marcos undefeated at 15-0. He's 30 years old, 5'7", 69-inch reach. Aoriqileng, he's 25-11, 30 years old, 5'7", with a 69.3-inch reach. Before we do the breakdown, before we do the picks, folks, you know what to do. Light one up. It's time for the smoke sesh. I got some Dante Inferno on deck. What you got on deck, bro?
Shit, I got some little huckleberry, that little huckleberry on deck. So we just chilling. You know the vibes, bro.
All right, folks, make sure to light one up. Make sure to like the video, subscribe. CJ UFC picks with my dude Gibbs. Let's go over these fights. Daniel Marcos, he's undefeated at 15-0. Very exciting prospect. Still in his prime, still young. Won his last fight against Davy Grant, won against Simon Oliveira, and won his contender series against Brandon Lewis. And Aoriqileng, he's also 30 years old, still young with a ton of experience. He's got 36 fights on his record. He's won his last fight against Johnny Munoz Jr., losing against Amy Zahabi, winning against Jay Perrin, winning against Cameron Elsie and losing to Cody Durden. I don't think this fight's going the distance, folks. Someone's going to get slept or tapped out. And I expect Daniel Marcos to win this fight. He's the much better fighter, better cardio, in my opinion, better grappler, in my opinion, and has more power in his hands. He is one of more most confident picks on this card. Daniel Marcos is a 7.5 out of 10 for me, and I'm definitely going to bet him. Put him in one of my parlays. Who you got in this fight?
Yeah, bro, I'm gonna go ahead and roll with Daniel Marcos for the first fight of the night. We've already seen Aoriqileng just come in here and just get outpointed. Since Aoriqi's been in the motherfucking UFC, he's just honestly, he just hasn't been a good minute winner. But we also seen Daniel Marcos last fight versus Davy Grant. He didn't look too hot to me. Davy Grant was getting off his jab. He was getting off his big power rights. Um, and my rule is, when you're coming off a split decision, it's a good chance that you lose your next one. But they're actually pretty close in the bantamweight rankings. So for some reason, Daniel Marcos didn't get a higher level of competition fight. So Aoriqileng, he's not really that good. There's a world where he can maybe clip him, but I just feel like Daniel Marcos is probably going to outpoint him and then just win on the scorecard. So I'm going to go Daniel Marcos by decision. Confidence rate probably 7.
You think the minus 210 is a good light for him?
I don't. I think because I'm glad you asked. I usually do my odds in the before the fights and what I think the odds should be. And I had Daniel Marcos at a minus 170. So that line's a little bit inflated, but as he is 2-0 as a favorite in the UFC. So I guess he's been proven.
That's why I'm gonna put him in a parlay so I can make that little plus money.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, guys. Next fight. This is one of those fights that got rescheduled. We have men's featherweight division. Hyder Amil versus Fernie Garcia. Hyder Amil, he's undefeated at 8-0. 33 years old, 5'10", 70-inch reach. Fernie Garcia, he is 10-4, 31 years old, 5'7", 67-inch reach. This is going to be a very interesting fight just because of the short notice for Hyder coming in at short notice. And Fernie Garcia losing the last 3 out of his 5 fights. Not a good look. I think this line is way off.
Real quick, I'm glad you said that, bro. That line is off. So Fernie Garcia is a plus 160 dog, and Hyder Amil is the minus 185 favorite.
Okay. All right. I didn't look at the lines for this fight. I'm just going off typology.
Yeah, no, they're off, and I was gonna find a way to put that in there. Sorry.
It's all good, bro. Hyder Amil undefeated at 8-0, making his UFC debut. He did win his Contender Series fight 5 months ago against Emra Sanmas. And then Fernie Garcia losing the last 3 out of his 5 fights. He hasn't won a UFC fight yet, losing against Renya Nakamura, losing against Brady Heistan, and losing against Journey Newson. He did win his Contender Series fight against Joshua Weems, but I don't even think he's in the UFC. Hyder Amil making his UFC debut. We all know how I feel about UFC debuts nowadays, bro. Do not like betting them, and I do not like picking them unless I know for a fact they're gonna come in there and run over their opponent. And I'm not 100% sure on Hyder. There's only a little bit of tape on him out there. So I gotta go with the dog, bro. I'm going with Fernie Garcia to win. Not sure how he does it, but I think he's gonna get it done. My confidence level is like a 5, though.
Hey man, and I don't blame you there. So this fight pretty much just got scheduled like a day ago. So we just had to go back and watch tape real quick. And Fernie Garcia, a guy who got beat by Journey Newsom, Brady Heistan, and then Ranya Nakamura. And what's the all the same pattern in all those fights is he is not a good minute winner. So he's 0-3 in the UFC, and he's losing these decisions. He's not racking these minutes up. He's just trying to jab, and then he gets taken down. Hyder Amil, he's coming in, making his UFC debut. Guy's pretty good. For what I've seen, it's different when you get into the big show. I understand that. But I feel like Hyder Mill's gonna come in here and establish range. He's aggressive. That first round, he's absolutely aggressive. But he has 3 wins for the decision. His last win came with a decision. So I think Hyder Mill's gonna come in here and then just outpoint him if he doesn't knock Fernie Garcia out, which he hasn't been submitted or stopped in his career. So one could say it's probably going to decision. But Hyder Mill, I feel like he can just outpoint him here, and I gotta go Hyder Mill.
I was a little back and forth on this fight, bro, because I'm not sure who's gonna win this fight. To be honest, that's why my confidence level is a 5. I might look like a dumbass picking Fernie Garcia. Trust me, I almost picked Hyder, but I just don't like this short notice step up and the fact that Fernie Garcia does have UFC experience and has fought the tougher competition. In my opinion, that's why I picked him.
I feel it, brother.
All right, next fight, guys. Next fight is scheduled in the men's light heavyweight division. We have Zach Pauga versus Bogdan Guskov. Zach Pauga, he's 6'2", 35 years old, 6'2", 76-inch reach. Bogdan Guskov, he is 14-3, 31 years old, 6'3", 76-inch reach. Zach Pauga, minus 135 favorite, and Bogdan Guskov, he's a plus 115 underdog. Zach Pauga losing the last 2 out of his 5 fights, and Bogdan Guskov winning the last 4 out of his 5 fights. Zach Pauga losing to Modestas Bukauskas. I don't think that's a good look because Modestas Bukauskas isn't that good in my opinion. Winning against Jordan Wright. Jordan Wright, I think, got cut from the UFC after that fight, and he's not that great either. Losing against Mohammed Usman, got knocked out there. I remember that fight. I picked him to win that fight. I remember Zach Pauga losing. And I was really upset. And Guskov losing to Volkan Ozdemir. I don't think that's a bad loss because Volkan's pretty solid. Um, Zach Pauga does have the UFC experience. He's been in there already a couple times, but he's not that good, man. And he's getting old. He's almost 36 years old compared to Bogdan Guskov, almost 32 years old. I got to go with Bogdan Guskov. I think he's got more power. I think he's got better wrestling and better grappling than Pauga. Um, Pauga can control you against the cage. I did notice that in tape, and he's got a solid jab, but that's pretty much it. I think Bogdan Guskov has this in the bag, and I'm picking him to win. I'm not picking him to bet though. Staying away from this fight. How about you, bro?
Yeah, man, I'm actually on the Gus Cost side as well. So, Zach Powder, in his last fight, I felt like he won versus Bokowskis. He was controlling the minutes. He had honestly the damage, but I go back to his other fights, like the Jordan Wright fight that you mentioned. And those are fights you should be winning, bro. Like and knocking out. Like you should be knocking Jordan Wright out, submitting him. How do you take Jordan Wright to decision? So if we're just talking from a danger standpoint, 15 minutes of action is going to be Bogdan Guskov all day. Like he fought Volkan Oezdemir. Like, what did people expect to happen? I picked Volkan Oezdemir by TKO, but he submitted him. So I knew that was going to happen. So this is a step down for Bogdan. So it's not going to be good for Zach Pauga. I have Guskov winning by knockout, and I'm pretty confident in that, man. Give me the dog.
My bad. We already know, bro. Smoking that gas over here. Guskov, I got him at 5.5 confidence level, but it sounds like you're more confident than I am.
I'm actually pretty confident in this one. It's everything just says Guskov by knockout.
Bro, and he's plus 115, so I
I'm
don't know if
jumping
I
on
should.
this. I'm jumping on this, and it's gonna be one of the things you just hold your nose and it happens, man.
All right, let's move on up to the next fight, guys. Scheduled in the men's welterweight division, we have Jeremiah Wells versus Max Griffin. Jeremiah Wells, he's 12-3, 37 years old, 5'9", 74-inch reach, minus 180 favorite. Max Griffin, 19-10, 38 years old, 5'11", 76-inch reach, plus 150 underdog. Jeremiah Wells winning the last 4 out of his 5 fights, and Max Griffin winning the last 3 out of his 5 fights. Jeremiah Wells, very good wrestler, very good grappler. He's got power in his hands, but he can slow down throughout the fight because he does throw heat and he throws heat all the time. And he also is always looking for takedowns, so that can deplete his cardio. Max Griffin, he's the veteran of this fight. He's fought everyone in this welterweight division pretty much. But he did lose his last fight to Michael Morales, which isn't a bad loss because Michael Morales is an upcoming prospect undefeated. So that's not a bad loss. He won against Tim Means, losing against Neil Magny, winning against Carlos Condit, and winning against Keenan Song. Jeremiah Wells losing to Carlston Harris by submission. I did pick Jeremiah Wells to win that fight, so a little bit disappointed there. I think this is going to be a closer fight than the number says. These guys are pretty much almost the same age, 37 to 38 years old. Max Griffin has a height advantage and a reach advantage, bro. Remember I told you I was going to tell you my dog of the card?
Yes, sir.
Here it is, bro. Max Payne Griffin is my dog of the card all freaking day. I think he's going to win this fight. I think he's got the better cardio. I think he's got better striking. Jeremiah Wells does have more power in his hands, though, and probably better wrestling. But Max Griffin, more experience, and I think he's going to out cardio Jeremiah Wells in this fight. Give me that plus 150 all day, bro. Who you got in this fight?
Bro, so this is one of the fights that I just been really just up in the air with, man. And it kills me to say it because I'm a big Max Payne fan. I have to go Jeremiah Wells. And let me tell you why. So just coming in, Max Payne, I just feel like he has been slowing down. You just look at the fight versus Tim Means, that's the fight that really gave me like, oh, I don't know. Max Payne, he just slows down. You can't be out here barely winning minutes with Max Payne, not with Max Payne, but with Tim Means, the Dirty Bird. That's hard to do. You know, Tim Means a knockout artist, but you can barely get past him. That scared me. And then you look at the fight with Michael Morales. In the second round, he was looking like he wanted out, and I hate to say that, but then you look at a guy like Jeremiah Wells on the other end. He didn't look good in this last one. He absolutely gasses out. Versus Carlson Harris, he thought that he was going to get the submission. He ended up putting his neck in a bad spot, and he got choked out. And that was the first time he's been stopped in his career. I just feel like Max Payne he's probably just going to lose a lot of minutes in this fight because he's 2-6 in the UFC as an underdog. So the bookies kind of have an idea when he loses. Jeremiah Wells, he just lost the first time as a favorite, so he's 2-1 as a favorite. This is a fight that I could see Jeremiah Wells having two rounds banked in, and then he probably loses. Max Payne loses 29-28. But it's gonna be a very good fight. From a fan, I just love this fight from a fan perspective. I can't wait for this fight.
Bro, I'm catching this dog ticket. I don't care what you say. I'm catching this dog ticket. I'm not changing
Hey,
my pick. I'm not
I'm
changing
a
my pick.
I'm a Max Payne fan. I hope he wins. I don't think I'm gonna be betting. At that number, I'm not betting Jeremiah Wells for sure.
Next fight, guys, it's gonna be in the men's light heavyweight division. We have Devin Clark versus Marcin Prachnio. Devin Clark, 14-8, 33 years old, 6 foot even, 75-inch reach, minus 190 favorite. Marcin Prachnio, he is 16-7, 35 years old, 6'3", 74-inch reach, plus 160 underdog. Devin Clark only winning the last 2 out of his 5 fights. Marcin Prachnio winning the last 3 out of his 5 fights. I think this line is kind of off. Devin Clark ain't that dangerous. He doesn't really finish fights, man. He doesn't really finish fights. He gets finished. And Marcin Prachnio, kind of the same thing. He doesn't really finish fights. He gets finished. I'm staying away from this fight. Far, far away from this fight. I was kind of 50-50 on this fight, guys, because both of these guys are not that great. And but my heart and my gut is going with the better fighter, Devin Clark. My confidence level is like a 5. Do not take my word for it. I'm not very confident on any of these guys. But give me Devin Clark to win for the betting or picking perspective, I should say. Who you going for, Gibbs?
So, man, honest to God, like you said, man, I think this for me, this was the easiest fight to call on the card, and it's Devin Clark all day. Um, we've just seen that Marcin Prachnio can be taken down and controlled straight up. He just wants to pitter patter with you, and he's not dangerous. He couldn't finish a glass of milk. I'm like, bro, this dude's just not him. So Devin Clark, a guy who just wins minutes, he came in there versus Don Young, and he controlled shit. He was doing what he had to do, and he was just looking like that guy. Um, he's alternating wins and losses, and if you just take that alone, he's gonna win this fight. Like, and I don't bet like that because I watch tape on everybody. But in the tape says Devin Clark, the numbers say Devin Clark, and the analytics says Devin Clark. But I'm staying away from it probably. But I'm a degenerate at the end of the day, so I might find myself on the Devin Clark side.
I'm thinking about betting the over, bro, on this fight. I think it goes over for sure.
I like that. You know what? I like that, CJ. I like that.
And I think it's gonna be a good number, bro. I'm hoping it's plus money, but if not, maybe like a minus 120, minus 130, something like that.
If there was a finish to happen, who do you see getting finished?
Probably Prachnio getting
Yeah,
finished.
yeah. That's what I was
Okay.
thinking.
All right. Next fight, guys. Here's another fight I'm staying away from because I'm not betting women's MMA unless it's live. That's the only way I'm betting women's MMA is during the fight. Scheduled in the women's strawweight division, we got Loma Lookboonmee versus Bruna, Brazil. Loma Lookboonmee, she is 9 or 8. She's 8-3, 28 years old, 5'1", 61.5-inch reach. Bruna, Brazil, 9-3, 30 years old, 5'6", 65.5-inch reach. Luma Lookboonmee minus 245 favorite. Bruna, Brazil plus 200 underdog. Luma Lookboonmee winning the last two, or sorry, winning the last 4 out of his 5 fights. Same thing with Bruna, winning the last 4 of his last 5 fights. I think the line is a little bit off. Even if it wasn't off, I'm still not betting this fight because I don't think any of these girls are dangerous. I don't think any of these girls are future champions or even going to touch the top 10 anytime soon. Luma Lookboonmee winning against Elise Reed and Denise Gomes. That was a impressive win because I like Denise Gomes and I think she's a good fighter. And Bruna Brazil winning against Shauna Bannon, losing to Denise Gomes and winning her contender series fight against Marnik Man. Give me Luma Lookboonmee to win a boring decision fight, piss break fight, in my opinion. Who you got, bro?
Yeah, man. Go ahead, give me Luma Lookboonmee. She's gonna go ahead and probably win a decision here. You have Bruna Brazil coming in. She looked pretty good her last one versus Shanna Banyan. I thought she was doing good, establishing her range. But in a style matchup like this, man, Luma's not giving you any range. She will be in your face, being aggressive, and just she's gonna be winning the moments, and she's gonna be controlling the cage, the and everything. So Luma, she's coming in the UFC. She's 5-2. She's 5-0 as a favorite, and she's 0-2 as a dog. So the bookies are 100% knowing when she gets with her fights. So she's a favorite in this spot. I got her. And all that aside, because Bruna Brazil, she is good. I'll give her that, but she's not that good. And like you said, none of these girls are gonna be, they're not gonna be champions. But if you tell me one of these women would be champion one day, I'm gonna say Loma would be a champ. But I gotta go Loma Lookboonmee. When, like you said, probably a boring fight, but she probably be winning the moments.
Bro, there's no way I'm putting a minus 245 Luma Lookboonmee on my ticket.
I couldn't see myself doing it either.
Next fight, guys. This is gonna be a banger right here. This is gonna be a scrap. Scheduled in the men's lightweight division, we have Bolaji Oki versus Damir Hadžović. Bolaji Oki, he's 8-1, 28 years old, 5'10", 73-inch reach. Damir Hadžović, he is 14-7, 37 years old, 5'9", with a 70-inch reach. Someone's gonna get slapped in this fight. I have a feeling someone's gonna get knocked out, bro. Bolaji Oki, he is making his UFC debut, winning his Contender Series fight against Dylan Salvador. And Damir Hadžović, he's been in the UFC for a while now, bro. But we haven't seen him in almost a year and a half, losing to Mark Diakase, which is not that good of a loss to have on your record because Mark Diakase ain't that great. But I just don't like betting or picking debuts, bro. But I do have a feeling Bolaji Oki is going to come in here and knock Damir out, probably in the first or second round, bro. I just don't see this fight going the distance. Damir is almost 38 years old, bro. I forgot he was in the UFC, to be honest. I mean, who has he fought? He fought Mark
Mark
Diakase, winning against Yancy Medeiros. I don't think he's in the UFC. Winning against Renato Moicano, that's a very good win. That's not or losing.
yeah.
Sorry, he lost. He lost. My bad. Losing to Crystal Giagos and winning against Polo Reyes. That dude is not in the UFC anymore. So yeah, man, I think he's gonna lose this fight, unfortunately, and I think he might get cut after this fight too. Give me Bolaji Oki. Might throw him in a parlay minus 270. I don't like the line, but I think he wins the fight. Who do you think is gonna win this fight?
Yeah, man. So this is actually one of the fights that I have bet already. So go ahead and give me the debut time to win in his UFC debut. Um we got Hadžović coming in. He's I feel like he's one of them guys, man. He's just barely here, man. He's fighting to not get finished and then still somehow he finds a way to get finished. You know, he's not good at anything. He's not good at much. If I had to say, if I had to tell you what he's good at, maybe controlling, the lesser man. And the guy in Oki, he's not the lesser man. This guy is he's I don't want to say he's gonna be a phenom, but this guy, he's gonna look like a phenom in this matchup. And this fight's not even competitive, man. Oki, I'm done. KO.
Is he your lock? Does that mean he's your lock, bro, this week?
Shit, man, we can go with a lock. I got a lock coming up, but we can. This guy's in a parlay, so if I lock it in with the bookies, he's a lock to me.
Hey, let's go, bro. Minus 270. That's a little wild for a debut, but we'll see. We'll see.
It's worth it.
Next fight, guys, scheduled in the men's welterweight division, and this is scheduled to be the featured prelim of the night. We have Trevin Giles versus Carlos Prates. Trevin Giles, he's 16-5, 31 years old, 6 foot even, 74-inch reach. Carlos Prates, he's 17-6, 30 years old, 6'1", 78-inch reach. Trevin Giles, he's coming in at plus 185 underdog, and Carlos Prates making his UFC debut, going coming in at minus 225 favorite. Trevin Giles definitely has fought the tougher competition. He's got the more UFC experience. To me, bro, I almost made him my dog of the card. I almost did, but that was pre-tape. After I did some tape, to me, Trevin Giles, he's a little bit wishy-washy, bro. He's not that impressive, and he's not someone I can put my money on, man. I'm probably gonna stay away from this fight because Carlos Prates is making his UFC debut. But most of his fights, bro, are by knockout. Look at 5 knockouts in a row on his record. That's crazy. But he is going against a UFC veteran. That's the only thing that worries me here, bro. It's the experience factor and excuse me, and the fact that Terran Giles has fought the tougher competition. Fuck it, bro. I'm picking Terran Giles, man. I'm picking Terran Giles to win this fight. Let's go. Who you got in this fight?
You a dog, bro. You a dog, bro. So in this one, bro, I gotta go ahead and rock with Carlos Prates. And let me tell you why. So this guy Carlos Prates, and he's a Brazilian, so you're gonna hear his name pronounced a couple of ways. I hear Prates. We're gonna go with Prates today. This dude Prates, man, he's aggressive, man. He controls the cage, he controls the ring, man. He wants to fight. He wants to be in your face and get nasty. He's his hips. He has great sprawling brawls. He's technical. And that's everything that Trevin Giles has failed susceptible to. Officer Giles, we should say. This guy, man, I like Trevin Giles, and I hate to pick against the guy almost in every fight. I remember the Drakus Duplessis Trevin Giles. That was one of my biggest nights. I was on Duplessis that night, man. I've been on Duplessis for a long time. I just seen 2 weeks ago. I called him, but I just feel like Trevin Giles knows it's a bad matchup, and I don't know why he even signed a contract. This is a nightmare matchup. Give me Carlos the Nightmare Prots to win his
Nah,
UFC
you're right,
debut.
bro. I'm going with Prots too. I was just joking. I just wanted to see what you were gonna say. Now I'm going with Prots, bro. Terran Giles is kind of trash. I, but I am worried about the experience factor. I'm not gonna lie about that. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
Well, man,
I'm not betting the fight though. I'm not betting the
yeah.
fight. No
As
way.
far as experience, I agree with that. But he has bad experience. He's been getting chinned left and right.
I'm going with
His
Prots. I'm going with Prots for sure.
just
I
letting
was
the
just
guy letting our show know. It's a scary fight for Trevin Giles.
not betting the fight though. There's no way I'm betting debuts anymore, bro. Absolutely not. But the pick is Prots for sure, and my confidence level was a 7.
Same.
This is gonna be a banger right here, folks. Absolute banger. Scheduled in the men's middleweight division, we got Rodolfo Vieira versus Armen Petrosyan. Rodolfo Vieira, he is 9-2, 34 years old, 6 foot even, 73-inch reach. Armen Petrosyan, he's 8-2, 33 years old, 6 foot 3, 71-inch reach. Rodolfo Vieira minus 115 favorite. Armen Petrosyan minus 105. You could say underdog, but it's a pick'em. This is a pick'em fight right here. Rodolfo Vieira winning the last 3 out of his 5 fights, and Armen Petrosyan winning the last 4 out of his 5 fights. Cody Brundage, Cody Brundage, that's an easy win. Cody Brundage is not that great, bro. He's not gonna be in the UFC for too much longer. He can disappoint you sometimes, but for the most part, he is kind of bad. Losing to Chris Curtis, winning against Dustin Stoltzfus, losing to Anthony Hernandez, and winning against Sparkbag Satarov. Who the hell is that? I even never knew who that was.
Submission
Armin
artist.
Petrosyan. Armin Petrosyan winning against Christian Leroy Duncan, winning against AJ Dobson, losing to Kyle Borajo. That's not a bad loss. Winning against Gregory Rodrigues and winning his contender series fight to Kalian Koliev. And I think he's going to win this fight as well. I love that line, bro. I'm definitely betting Armin Petrosyan. He's a good fighter. He's going to definitely have the better cardio. To me, he's going to have the better striking. The only thing that Rodolfo Vieira probably has is better submissions and a better ground game. But other than that, Armen Petrosyan beats him everywhere else. So give me Armen Petrosyan in this fight, and I'm definitely betting his line. -105 is a good line. So yeah, who you got in this fight?
Yeah, bro. I love this line as well for Armin Petrosyan. I'm going with the dog Armin Petrosyan, and I guarantee whenever these guys have their feet on the canvas, he won't be the underdog. So I would say get on this line early because that's just good EV. We've seen Rodolfo Vieira cracked and wobbled, like you said, to Cody Brundage, and then Brundage got tired, and that's when he got the submission. Like that, there's no way that should be happening. Then we seen Chris Curtis, a guy who extended him through the first round. He couldn't get the takedown, and he got outpointed. Then Dustin Stoffel. So yeah, that's a good win. I'll give you that because Dustin's coming off a good win. So I give you that. But yeah, man, Armin Petrosyan, he's a young gun. Rodolfo's been around. The blueprint's out on this guy already. But Armin, it's hard to find tape on his younger stuff. And honestly, he's just a bad matchup from what we've seen recently. I just don't understand his line. And this is one of the plays that I already have bet. And yeah, man, he's gonna go ahead and get it done in my mind.
Bro, I just placed a bet right now. So you were speaking on Armen Petrosyan
Hey,
just now.
might have to go ahead and slide for a single just in case one of my other guys shit the bed. You never know because that line is just so juicy. You can make money betting that alone.
That's what I'm saying. I bet
So
him straight up, bro,
yeah,
straight up.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm about to do after this show.
Here's a very interesting fight, guys. Scheduled in the men's lightweight division, we got Michael Johnson versus Darrius Flowers. Michael Johnson, 21 and 19, 37 years old, 5'10", 73.5-inch reach. Darius Flowers, he's 12 and 6, 29 years old, 5'9", 71-inch reach. Michael Johnson, -125, slight favorite. Darius Flowers, +105, underdog. Could have sworn Michael Johnson was an underdog last time I checked, but I guess the line flipped, bro. Michael Johnson losing his last fight to Diego Ferreira, but that's not a bad loss. We know Diego Ferreira is a problem. He's got knockout power. And Michael Johnson's old, bro. He's almost 38 years old, so his chin is kind of wearing out. Winning to Mark Diakase, losing to Jamie Malarkey, winning against Alan Patrick, and losing to Clay Guida. Darius Flowers, he's a +105 underdog, losing to Jake Matthews, winning his contender series against Amrian Gogoletsi. And this is his third fight in the UFC. But he's been away for 6 months, almost 7 months now, going against a trusted, true veteran and Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson's been in the UFC for a long, long time. He's fought the tougher competition. He's seen everything and he's done everything in the UFC besides win a championship or have a main event. Darius Flowers is not proven to me, bro. He's just not proven to me. But I can't bet an almost 38-year-old Michael Johnson who's a wishy-washy fighter. So I gotta go with Darius Flowers to win. I'm staying away from this fight betting perspective, though. I'm not gonna bet this fight. Gotta look at some props. So maybe bet the over. I think this fight goes over. What do you think about this fight, bro?
Yeah, man. So you had a pretty solid breakdown here because every point that you brought up, I pretty much will be bringing up in mine. Darius Flowers, man, a guy who's pretty, he's pretty raw at nice. He has raw power for sure. He can grapple. He's strong. He's definitely strong. I thought I hate to admit that I actually had Darius Flowers to win in that fight versus Jake Matthews, then he gets submitted. But I have to go with Darius Flowers in this fight. Michael Johnson, he's old, man. To be honest with you, like he be looking good in these fights. Like that fight with Diego Ferreira, he was looking great, and then he gets clipped, and it was the same knockout from the Josh Emmett fight. got clipped right on that chin, fell out same way. It was devastating. He looked good versus who was that? Mark DeCasey's. That was pretty good. He didn't get chinned. That was, and then what it was it? Then he knocked out Alan Patrick. That was pretty good. But I just feel like this is not a matchup for him. He's gonna be looking good until he's not. So I gotta go Darius Flowers knockout. Like CJ said, I'm not betting this fight, but for the sake of the show, I just think that Darius Flowers is gonna find the mark again. I hate to admit it, but just what I have to admit. Confidence level is probably a 6 too. He's gonna. I, I just don't see Darius Flowers not getting him a finish here.
Next fight, guys. Here's a scrap right here. Scheduled in the men's middleweight division, we have Brad Tavares versus Gregory Rodrigues. Brad Tavares, he is 20 and 8, 36 years old, 6'1", 74-inch reach. Gregory Rodrigues, he's 14 and 5, 31 years old, 6'3", 75-inch reach. Gregory Rodrigues looks older than he is, bro. He's only 31, almost 32 years old, but he looks like 41 years old. Brad Tavares, UFC veteran, been in the UFC for a while now. Winning his last fight against Chris Weinman. But let's be honest, he should have put Chris Weinman out, man. Chris Weinman's washed up. He's not the same anymore. He should have knocked him out or submitted him there. Losing to Bruno Silva, losing to Dricus Duplessis, winning against Omari Akhmadov. I don't think he's in the UFC anymore, and losing to Antonio Carlos Jr. I don't even think he's in the UFC anymore. Gregory Rodrigues, he's a knockout artist, bro. He can knock you out with one punch. The dude can knock you out. And he can take some damage as well. But he is kind of chinny. We see him also getting knocked out in his fights. Let's go over real quick. Winning against Dennis Tululian, but Dennis Tululian is not that great. Losing to Bruna Vieira, not a bad loss. Winning against Chidi Njokuani. I remember that I made RoboCop my dog of the card for that week. He was an underdog on that fight, and he won that fight for me, so I won some money. Knocking out Julian Marquez and losing to Armen Petrosyan, not a bad loss. And I think he's gonna win and knock out Brad Tavares in this fight, bro. I think he's gonna win this fight. Um, he's gonna he's gonna just knock him out, bro. He's got better striking, more power, probably better cardio as well, because Brad Tavares can slow down throughout the fight. So, who you got in this fight, man?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good matchup for RoboCop. Um, Brad Tavares, he's a guy who has a lot of miles on the clock. If he was a car, I would say he probably has 190,000 miles on him. He's been fighting since he was like 20. He's in his early 20s. So the Haitian sensation. I think this is probably going to be the fight where, like you said, man, we're going to see that chin get exposed again. We've seen Bruno Ferreira, not Bruno Ferreira, but Bruno Ferreira knocked Gregory Rodrigues out. But we've seen Bruno Silva knock Brad Tavares out in the first round, and that was crazy. I did never expected that because Fought Still Knots didn't get knocked out. Fought Izzy didn't get knocked out. He did get knocked out by Robert Whitaker though. But yeah, man, we've seen Brad Tavares get knocked out a lot, and Gregory Rodrigues, a great minute winner. He's 3-2 in the UFC as a favorite, and then Brad Tavares, a guy who's 2-4 as a dog. So man, a guy who's been around for a while, they know when he wins and loses. So this is a great matchup for Gregory Rodrigues. I can't say I love the number, but if we're just for the just win it boys out there, Gregory Rodrigues, y'all got.
Yes, sir. Minus 240. Yeah, that's kind of wild. That's kind of wide right there. Not a betting line that I would probably bet. Might throw him in the parlay just for ha-has. Let's see, bro. Let's see.
Let's see.
Here's a very good fight right here. Very interesting fight. And a last minute step up fight. Scheduled in the men's middleweight division. Ihor Potieria versus Robert Bryczek. Ihor Potieria coming in at short notice. He is 20-5, 27 years old, 6'3", 75-inch reach. Robert Brychek, 17-5, 33 years old, 6 foot even. His reach is unavailable, making his UFC debut. But he is number 5 in the country of Poland, which is very interesting. Polish fighters are no joke. Ihor Peteria definitely has more experience. He's fought the type of competition because he's been in the UFC longer, obviously. But he's losing the last 3 out of his 5 fights, losing to Rodolfo Bellato getting knocked out, losing to Carlos Ober getting knocked out. His last win was a year ago to Mauricio Shogun Hua, who's a legend in the UFC. But let's face it, at that time, Shogun Hua was just a washed up has been. No disrespect to the legend, but let's be honest. Then losing to Nicolau Negamoranu, winning his contender series against Lucas Sadolowski. But this dude, Robert Brychek, I'm not sure if you guys do tape or watched his fights. The dude is a problem and he can knock your block off at any freaking moment. The dude is a problem. He has won his last 5 fights and he's making his UFC debut. And I think he's going to win his UFC debut. Might make a bet on him. There's no line available on Typology. You got any lines available for this fight, bro?
Yeah, so DraftKings had bro at Brychek at -220 and Ihor Pateria is a +185.
There you go, guys. -220 for Robert Brychek. That's not a bad line to parlay. There you go, folks. The knockout parlay. Robert Brychek and Gregory Rodrigues. That's a good parlay right there. I'm about to bet that after the show, bro. Who you got in this fight?
So, like you said, this is an early replacement fight, man. And at first it was Albert Daria versus Robert Brychek. So I was so excited to come on the show and give you guys a dog to just a hammer
He was
spot.
good, yo, bro. He was gonna be my dog of the card, no lie, and I had to switch it because of this fight. They fucking he pulled out Albert Dario.
Yeah, bro. Albert Derive was getting slept. This guy Robert Brychek, man, is a phenom, and I was gonna say the tag for him. This guy has Polish power. He's strong. He's durable. He stays on the gas. Like all his losses were early on when he was a kid. He is coming in the UFC at 33. So this we're gonna see him as a polished product. He won his last 5 fights and that 5th fight was a year. So he's had 5 fights in the last year and he is knocking folks out. Not because he's chasing a finish, but they just can't last with him. Ihor Peteria, a guy who really he looked good versus Rodolfo Bellato in his last one. He almost got him out of there, but he gassed in Bellato. He had more juice in the batteries. So that was a good one. Honestly, I was a guy who cashed in big on that Shogun Hua because everybody was low on Peteria. I was like, Ihor knockout. So I can't lie. I've called every Ihor fight correct in the UFC, and it's not going to change today.
And you know what's
Robert,
interesting about this fight, bro? Sorry to cut you
what?
off.
What is it,
This fight is on the main card, so they should, UFC obviously sees something in Robert.
man? And that is spot on because it was Albert Dorian Brychek still is on the main card. Then it's a switch off for Peteria. So who are they here for? There's an A side and B side to every fight, like bro just said. Man, it's not going to change. It's going to be Robert Brychek by knockout. My confidence is a 9.
There's the lock, bro. There's the lock.
That's the lock, man. It's the lock.
All right, guys. Let's move on up to the next fight. Scheduled to be the co-main event of the evening, scheduled in the men's featherweight division, we have Dan 50K Ige versus Andre Touchy Feely. Dan Ige, 17-7, 32 years old, 5'7", 71-inch reach. Andre Touchy Feely, 23-10, 33 years old, 5'11", 74-inch reach. Both of these guys are UFC veterans. Both of these guys, they can finish. They can tap you out. They can knock you out. Especially Dan Ige. He's got knockout power. Andre Feely, he's got sneaky KO power, and he can submit you as well. But Dan Ige, man, he's been looking good. Besides his last loss, losing to Bryce Mitchell, that was not a bad loss. Bryce Mitchell's not a bad fighter. Winning to Nate Landwehr. Everybody thought Nate Landwehr was going to go in there and knock him out, but I called that fight. I knew that Dan Ige was the better fighter in that fight. Then knocking out Damon Jackson, losing to Mavlar Evlov, and losing to Josh Emmett. Andre Feely, he was looking incredible in his last fight against Lucas Almeida. And he lost to Nathaniel Wood, winning against Bill Algio, losing to Joe Anderson Brito, and he had a draw against Daniel Pineda. I think Dan Ige is going to bounce back here, and I think he's going to get a knockout, bro, because we've seen Andre Feely get finished before. I think he's the one who's going to get touchy on his chin. So give me Dan 50K Ige to get another 50K knockout on this. My confidence level is a 7, bro, and I might bet him. He's only a minus 175 favorite. That's not a bad line. So give me Dan 50K Ige by knockout.
Hey man, I gotta go ahead and line up with bro on that, man. Go ahead and give me Dan Ige for the win, bro. You got Dan Ige coming in as a minus 192 favorite, and he's 7-1 as a favorite in the UFC. So pretty much that boy is damn near undefeated on the market. So all bullshit aside, like if we're just talking numbers, that's that. If we're just gonna talk matchup, come on, we've seen Andre Feely get touched up. You know, Joe Anderson Brito. I ain't gonna lie, that was one of that was probably top 5 best plays of the 2022 or 21. I forget what year it was. Joe Anderson Brito came in and slept him, and everybody's been high on Brito since. You ain't seen that dog tag on him since. Um, Andre Feely, I thought he won versus Nathaniel Wood, I have to admit. And he looked really good in his last fight versus Lucas Almeida. That was a pretty good fight. But Lucas Almeida just now got cut. So, you know, it's kind of like, damn, is that a good win? Is that a real win? I give it a real win because I was high on Lucas Almeida. Dan Ige, man, he's really good though. He's gonna probably get the knockout here. Shit, Andre Feely, you might want to pull out, my boy.
Touchy feely. All right, guys. Next fight. This fight is going to be a straight up banger. Someone is going to get knocked out or someone's going to get tapped out. I promise you, this fight is not going to go off 5 rounds, folks. Scheduled for the main event of the evening for UFC Fight Night Vegas 86, Hermansson versus Pyfer. But before we give you our picks, before we give you our breakdown, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like the video. Check my dude out, Gibbs, on his channel. He does breakdowns. And this is the main event of the evening, folks. We have Jack Hermansson versus Joe Pyfer. Jack Hermansson, he's 23-8, 35 years old, 6'1", 77.5-inch reach. He's coming at plus 185 underdog. Joe Pyfer, he's 12-2. He is 27 years old, 6'2", with a 75-inch reach, a minus 225 favorite. Hasn't lost in the UFC yet. He's been looking great ever since his Contender Series fight. Let's go over their records real quick. We have Jack Hermansson winning the last 2 out of his 5 fights, losing to Roman Dolidze, winning against Chris Curtis, losing to Sean Strickland, winning against Edmund Shabazian, and losing to Marvin Vittori. So definitely Jack Hermansson has the UFC experience and definitely has fought the tougher competition. Joe Pyfer, though, the dude has knockout power. The dude has explosive in his hands. So if he touches this dude's chin, he's going night-night. That's for damn sure. Body bags winning against Abdul Razak Hassan. I called that, folks. A lot of people thought he was going to lose that fight, but not me. I had Joe Pyfer in that fight. Same thing with Gerald Mearshart. A lot of people thought because Gerald Mearshart has more experience, and I was like, nah, man, Gerald Mearshart, he's ass cheeks. He's gonna lose that fight. And then he won against Alan Amandovsky, not a bad win, and winning against Ozzy Diaz, his contender series fight. And I think he's gonna do it again here. He's my lock of the card. I don't care what nobody says. Joe Pyfer is my lock. My confidence level is a 9.5 out of 10. He's gonna knock out Jack Hermansson in this fight. I guarantee it, folks. This dude's gonna be a champion someday, man. What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, bro. 9.5. Holy mackerel. I'm on the edge to get my breakdown. So yeah, somebody go get a nickel. So I gotta go ahead and roll with Jack Hermansson.
Oh my god.
It's happening, brother. It's happening. It happened. So, and let me tell you why. So you got a guy, Joe Pyfer, man. He's coming in the UFC, a guy that one could say that Dana White and them, had like pity for. He was homeless. Dana White bought him a house. Dana White feeding him. Dana White doing all this. So basically you can say that he got Dana White privilege, just like my boy Tony Ferguson would say. He got Dana White privilege. So he knocked out Amadowski. Okay, Alan Amadowski, not in the UFC anymore. He knocked Gerald Mearshart out in the first round. That looked like riggery. I don't know. He just quit. He balled up and he quit. That looked like that something was fishy in that one. I'll leave it at that. And then Abdul Razak Al Hassan. That was his first real fight in the UFC, and he submitted him. He showed a wrinkle in his game. But if you go and dig into his tape, man, and Joe Pyfer, he's been controlled. There's spots where he's absolutely been taken down, and he said it himself. He's a head case. So Pyfer is one of those guys, man. All week he's going to be questioning: is he good enough to be in this spot? Is he good enough to be here? He was telling the media, oh, if I get knocked out, everybody's going to be saying, oh, I suck. So he knew it was a chance he could get knocked out by Abdul Razak Al Hassan. So that's just when we're dealing with a head case, you have to deal with the intangibles, and that's the reason why I'm doing all this talking. And if we're gonna just talk about the fight statistically, and look at the record: 23-8, 12-2. Like, let's be honest, bro. The experience is a landslide on her Jack Hermansson side.
I agree. I agree.
And every time people count Jack Hermansson out, he shows up. And every time people have
But
him
bro,
high,
look at this though. He
go
won
ahead.
against Chris Curtis
Hmm.
decision, and then he won
He
against
looked great. He looked great in that Chris Curtis fight. And what did Chris Curtis just bounced back?
Before that though, his last one win was almost 3 years ago, bro.
Yeah, man. But I just feel like what happens. What we haven't seen Joe Pyfer get extended. When he
And then
gets
he got
extended, he
knocked
looks
out. He
terrible.
got knocked out a year ago. He's been out a
That's
year.
Roman Delise. But these are what would happen if
What
Roman
happened last
Delise
night
fought Joe.
though?
But before that fight, everybody had Roman Delise. So I'm not one of them guys to watch the fight and forget everything. Because Roman Delise will walk through Joe Pyfer.
I don't think so. We saw what happened last night. All he did was clinch, bro.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Jack Hermansson. Give me Jack Hermansson, and I got it on here. I got it a confidence of 6, and bro's more confident than I am.
Is it your dog of the card?
No, my dog of the card is gonna be actually I got it down as Darius Flowers. So that's gonna be the dog.
Okay.
I think he's gonna sleep him. But Jack Hermansson, I have an inkling that he's just gonna be able to get his game plan
What if
off.
I'm right? What if I come back on here next week and told you so, bro? Pfeiffer's that dude.
Well, I'd be like, we break it down. That's why that's the best show. We come with the transparency.
You already know, guys. That's why y'all guys gotta keep tuning in to CJ UFC picks, the best show out there, the most up and coming show out there. We appreciate you guys. Hope you guys subscribe. Hope you guys like the video. What's the next card? I'm looking for it.
It's actually the UFC 298 card, I believe, with Ilya Taporia Volkanovski. And I'll actually be having that broken down later on today. If you guys want to come to my channel and check that out, it's gonna be. I got some juice for y'all. I actually got like 5 bets already locked in for that card, so I'm way more heavily invested in that card next week.
Next week, guys, we're about to give you some heat. We're about to give you at least 10 picks correct for this card. We're going to give you another 10 picks correct for next card. You already know what to do. Tune in for UFC 298, Volkanovski versus Tuporia. Next week, we're going to drop it. You got any final words, bro?
Man, final words, man. I appreciate everybody watching who's still here, man. We're here, we locked in. We have, what is it, another 11 weeks back to back to back to back and on forward. So we're here, bro.
You already know what to do. Subscribe, like the video, drop a comment, and I just wanted to tell you guys to also follow us on all of our social media platforms: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out, CJ UFC Picks, my man Gibbs, and I think we're gonna take a little break in April because we're gonna be out of town, but we'll talk about that later.
Yep, for
And we're gonna
sure,
give
bro.
make sure to subscribe. We're out of here, folks. Take it easy.
See ya.